The moment you become self-aware, they label you difficult. Most people assume love is earned by being agreeable, soft, and adaptable. Yet if you look at the patterns beneath the surface, you'll see something more sinister at play. The relationships that feel most consuming are often powered not by mutual respect, but by a hidden machinery of control. Sometimes the ones who claim to love you most are the ones most invested in shaping you into something easy to manage. They call it concern, helpfulness, or just wanting the best for you. But the outcome is always the same. Your boundaries slowly dissolve, and your independence starts to feel like a flaw. Machiavelli, the Renaissance master of power, would instantly recognize this as emotional leverage. He wrote, "The first method for estimating the intelligence of a ruler is to look at the men he has around him. The same is true for your own life. If you're surrounded by people who only support you when you are compliant, you're not loved, you're managed." Dark psychology tells us that true manipulators rarely use obvious tactics. Instead, they cloak control in affection. At first, they might flatter you for being easygoing. They praise your flexibility, your willingness to say yes, your lack of conflict. But slowly, what was praised becomes a prison. Every small compromise you make becomes expected. Soon, saying no feels like a betrayal, not of them, but of the role you were assigned. In this dependency loop, you're rewarded for being agreeable and punished, subtly or directly, whenever you assert your needs. They withdraw affection, use guilt as currency, or act wounded by your independence. The invisible leash gets shorter with every yes you say against your better judgment. Machiavelli understood that power rarely announces itself. True rulers don't bark orders. They create environments where compliance is effortless. In relationships, the manipulator makes you believe that their happiness depends on your obedience. This is not love. It is a delicate game of strings and puppets. Consider the couple where one partner always makes the plans, chooses the friends, and decides the rules. At first, it looks like leadership. Over time, it becomes soft tyranny. The partner who follows is praised as easy. The one who resists is difficult or ungrateful. The balance of power never tips in their favor. Here's where Machiavelli's insight becomes a practical guide. If you want to measure whether you're in a relationship built on real respect or manipulation, watch what happens when you express your own will. Do they encourage your individuality, or do they try to steer you back into compliance? The answer is the truest test of love. The psychology here is precise. Manipulators thrive on predictability. When you always agree, they know exactly how to move you. When you become unpredictable, when you start asking questions, asserting boundaries, or changing the script, they lose their grip. Your self-awareness is a wrench in their machine. Independence is never welcomed by those who profit from control. The moment you begin to say, "This is what I want," the air in the room changes. They might accuse you of being selfish, cold, or not who you used to be. But the truth is simpler. You didn't change. You just stopped being easy to control. A manipulative dynamic can look like a dance where only one person is allowed to choose the steps. As soon as you start moving to your own rhythm, the music stops. The person who once loved your kindness now resents your clarity. Machiavelli believed that loyalty bought through fear or dependency never lasts. He wrote, "Men are less hesitant about offending someone who makes himself loved than one who makes himself feared. For love is a bond of obligation, which men, being selfish, break whenever it suits them. Translate this to relationships. If you are only loved for being agreeable, the affection will vanish the second you push back. So how do you break free from this invisible web? It starts with recognizing the tools used against you. Manipulators rely on 3 primary tactics: guilt trips that turn your no into a personal attack, silent treatment or withdrawal to make you chase reconciliation, rewriting history to cast your independence as betrayal. To reclaim control, you have to tolerate being misunderstood. You have to withstand the discomfort of others' disappointment. The manipulator depends on your need for harmony. When you no longer fear discord, their power dissolves. Set boundaries and watch who respects them. Refuse to apologize for needing space or having a voice. Remember that real love welcomes your growth, even when it means letting go of old patterns. Dark psychology shows us that dependency is a cage built one compromise at a time. Freedom is won by dismantling the cage, not by decorating it. You might lose people when you reclaim yourself. Let them go. Anyone who only loved you for your compliance was never loving you at all. They were loving the version of you they could control. In the end, Machiavelli teaches that the strongest person in the room is not the loudest, but the one most immune to emotional puppetry. When you walk in your own authority, manipulators will call you difficult. But that label is your liberation. If you're ready to reclaim your independence, subscribe for more on Machiavelli, dark psychology, and breaking free from control. Share your story in the comments. When did you finally recognize the difference between love and manipulation? Let's build relationships that honor freedom, not control.